Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're going to do a little different thing today. We're going to start with just scraps and we're going to build a fabric collage. You notice I have these pieces of the fabric that I use for a lot of my backgrounds, and I just have lots of pieces sometimes, but I don't want to throw them away. So I'm going to start scrappy by creating my own background from pieces. Okay. Then I'm going to grab out, you can't see the tub, but it's a tub that I have next to me that has all kinds of scraps in it. And I'm going to be grabbing out of that and using some of that to create some fabric collage. Now, I'm not going to concentrate on coordinating colors or anything. This is just a scrappy collage that will probably be cut up later for other things. I have my iron next to me because all these scraps are, as you can imagine, bunched up, and so there's they're in every kind of condition. Some of them I don't care because I'm going to scrunch up anyway, but others I want to try to get a little bit straighter out of there. I thought I would use just a piece like this and start with sewing that down and at the same time catching my pieces that I've pieced behind and see what that will do. I'm going to use a pretty big piece across here because I can catch a lot with this one piece, and then I can come back and break it up so that it's not too much of it later. Okay, it's all very gauzy fabric, and it's very easy to, not gauzy, but loose weaved, very easy to sew through. Let's see, we need to grab some thread here. I've got a bunch of just pieces here. Let's just use some up of some of what I've got already out. And okay, come undone. Okay, let's use 2 strands of the floss that's strong enough to hold everything, but not too big. Let's get it untangled. All right. I'm still buried in scraps, so I'm thinking that I may make up a bunch of these fabric collages that I can cut up and use up later for different elements, and get some of these scraps out of my tubs and into something that I can use. Okay, we are going to be just sewing this by hand, and remember this just going to be a running stitch because this is a utility thing again. We're creating a collage background that we use later for something, and then when we want embellishment or maybe put some pretty embroidery on it, whatever we want to do, we can do. But right now we're just using scraps to make, you might say, fabric. And so let's get this first running stitch in here, and this is going to be pretty good sized stitches because, again, like I said, I'm just trying to attach all these background pieces together so they make one piece so that I can work on it. Okay. And I can see through this pink just a little bit, and hope I'm seeing right because I'm trying to determine where it is that I need to sew. And just make a long running stitch. More like a basting stitch back here, because the majority of the stitching is going to be covered up anyway with other elements as we collage on top different fabrics. So I'm just trying to save all those pieces and use them as a background because they're good, and I don't want to lose them, and I just love sewing through it. It's like I've said in other videos, it's like sewing through butter. It's so easy, this open weave, yet it's strong enough once you sew it that it holds its shape, and the edges will unravel pretty easily, but in most cases that's okay because I can adjust that out too if I have to, or I can just leave it. Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, where's that at? There it is. We're just about at the end of this run with big basting stitches. And let's see how we did. Did we catch? We caught everything but this little corner here, but that's okay. Look at there, we did it. Okay. So we got that down. Now let's see, I want this to be straight. Oops. Let me flip it around, straighten it out here. And to get back down here, we'll just make a second run with large basting stitches. Okay, we're going to turn that one around just so we can come down and catch this one while we're here. Still got enough thread on the needle, I believe, to get to the end of that. Just barely, but the other thing I want to be able to do is get it sewn well enough. I can get all these pins out of here. They do make sewing difficult. Oops. Okay. Now, one of the primary reasons, again, for making this video is to show that we don't need to really throw anything away. We can take these pieces and piece them together and make us background pieces, especially if they are in fabrics that we like to work on in our backgrounds. It's sometimes hard to find just the fabric that you just love. So if you got pieces of it, put it together and use it. And in this case, we're going to collage because I haven't done that in a while, and there are some different motifs that I'd like to create out of collage, and I don't really have one on hand anymore. And let's see, get that one back up to there where it belongs. Get that straight. Put a pin in that. Okay. that. We've got that one we can take out. Okay, now we need to come over and catch this one. Get some more thread here. A lot of people I know will think, well, that's a lot of trouble to go to and just get another piece of fabric. But again, I am a very scrappy person, and I do like to use every bit that I can. And why throw something in a way that is perfectly usable if we just take the time to piece it together? And no one will know that it's pieced together but us. Not that that matters, but it's also challenging. To me, it's challenging to make sure that I use all my scraps and find ways to use them. If I don't, sometimes I have to give it some thought, mull it over for a few days. What in the world can I do with that? And that's the way I was doing this one, because I was thinking, I have all these little pieces and I just love it. I don't want to lose it. What am I going to do with it? And I thought, well, put it as the background of a collage, because no one will ever know it'll work perfect. Okay, this one's I'm gonna have to do this one kind of flat on the surface here, because, oops, forgot to knot the end of the thread. Well, I knotted it, but it's too fine for this fabric. Let's get a bigger knot on there. Okay, let's try that again and go up in here. Again, this doesn't have to be pretty. This is what I call utility stitching. It's for a purpose, but it's not going to really show, and it's just to get these things together. Okay. All right, let's go down that way. Then I need to go up and catch some of that at the top. Let's just do it this way. Now I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to come in a diagonal and try to catch some of that pieces that are back there. Okay, I got that. Now I need to go back around here and take that out and sew this. Well, I'm doing it on the flat surface because it wants to come apart on me when I hold it, so I'll do it on a flat surface and keep it down. I need to come back up through here, catch some of this. Go back down through here, catch some of this. It's got a kind of a loose place right there with, it's almost like mending. We can call this our mending collage. Okay, I think we got that. I need to come back down to the, run it back down to the end. Okay. Now let's see. Pretty much that's open, but that's all stitched, so I think we've got our background piece in one piece. And of course, as we collage on it, it's going to get stronger and more stable as we put stuff on it. Okay, what are we going to grab out of this thing over here? I've got a little piece. Seems to be a long piece. This tub seems to be full of laces and what I call fancy fabrics. And so we'll be using a little bit of everything. Let's see, it says some cording there. I'm just going to squanch this so I don't really need it to be ironed. So let's just get back to the back. Where's my thing? Get back to the back. And come up into that. And you might say, well, they're not using flat fabric. No, I'm not. I'm going to be just whatever strikes me at the time. This fabric is so soft and flimsy that to me it needs to be scrunched up and so that it can have some strength itself. Well, I caught a edge of there I didn't want to catch. There you go. And I'm just gonna go around and tack down little bits of it just so that it stays where I want it to stay. And later, like I said, I don't know what I'll be doing with any of this later, so right now it's just getting something down. Okay. I could bring that one up in there. Slip it under that edge. And I save my little pieces because I do like to repeat when I'm collaging, so I get some continuity. So I will be using those little pieces again somewhere. And I've always loved the look of collages that I do this way. They take some work and they take some time, but they do use a lot of scraps. And you can also use a lot of scraps that you might not use otherwise very often. And they just, when you have them on hand And you have other projects. For instance, I've used them to cut flower petals out of for making flowers, and I just can't tell you how many different ways I've used these things. And but the problem is, if I don't have them made up, I can't use them. So I need to stop every once in a while and just create some. It's also another way to help to keep your scraps in check, so they don't get too numerous. Whoops. Oh, I just don't like it when I do that. One lady said, well, you're trying to use too much of the thread. You need to tie it off before you get that low. And, she's right. I don't know why I do that, but that's just... Okay. Now, the string was in the other stuff I was pulling out. I don't know whether I'll use that right now or not, but probably something I would couch with later. Okay, I need to finish that one. I am going to video this project from start to finish. And I know a lot of you don't spend that much time on a video that long, but for those of you that have a lot of trouble collaging, I think that would be good. It's something you can refer back to, watch bits and pieces of it when you want to. And let's see. I don't want to use that. I got a piece of this. Let's see. I like that. And I am not worried about what color my thread is either. This is going to be a colorful project all the way around, so I'm not going to worry about getting my thread matching whatever I'm sewing on. As you could see, that was a seam that was cut off of something else. I'm thinking I can curve that like that and use that. It's a beautiful fabric, and there's nothing wrong with a seam. Give it some interest by curving it. Sometimes we can get too hung up on straight lines, when a curve will just add some interest all by itself. The other thing I find is when I'm doing something like that, the less thought I put into what I grab, the better my collages come out. When I overthink the fabrics, it looks too structured, it looks too thought out, it doesn't flow as well. The only thing I might do on this is try to stay in neutrals or soft colors, not throw any, primary bright colors in. But I don't know until I get there. I don't know if I'll stay true to that or not. And like, it's okay if one fabric shows through another. That's just part of the collage effect. I do have a lot of sheers in this bucket. Silkies, satins, like I said, laces. I have lots of different stuff like that in this bucket that I'm working out of. So I'm just going to try to incorporate it and make it work for what I'm doing. And really, isn't it a collage just that, a collage? And especially a scrappy one. Okay, so far so good. Let's see what I might have. You know what? I think I will cut that one. And I will use it to join these intersections together here and cover them a little bit, where 3 different things come together. And as you see, I did just double over that lace so that it would have a little bit better coverage. So it wasn't completely see-through. It just so happens that the thread I've got matches it perfectly. Okay. Now I'm going to try not to always come out and sew down my edges, because that way I can tuck things under. I will leave myself a little area out there that I could do that if I choose, and that way things look like they flow together naturally. Everything isn't placed in straight lines and so forth and so on. And if I don't choose to put something under it, I can always come back and sew it down. Let's see here. Let's get around this corner. When you don't feel like doing a particular project, maybe you're into something that's quite detailed or takes a lot of concentration, or you're just not in the mood for it. Having a collage project like this is very good, because it just doesn't require much of you, and you can just stitch away and not worry about it. Okay, we're going to come down to this end. And we'll see what we want to do here. Let's leave a little opening here, so if we decide to tuck something under that, which I do think I want to, I don't know if this is a piece of torn fabric. Might be good placed in there like that. I think I might try that. Okay, let's iron it down. See if we can get it straightened out a little. So I can see what I've got to work with. Okay. There's a little bit of color on the outside edge, so I want that to show. I'm just going to tuck that under there like that. Let it come up. And we'll continue down this line and catch that new piece as we go down. Isn't this cool? I mean, it's very satisfying knowing that my background is just pieced together. It's stuff that I like, that I didn't let myself lose, that I'm using it, and it's working beautifully for this collage, and that just makes me feel good. I'm staying true to my scraps. Okay, what do we want to do out here to this corner? Let's see. It's a bit of gauze. What do I got? Pulled out of my scrappy thing. That's too close to that. Don't like that. It's a pretty piece of fabric. I think I'll steal a little piece of that. Just need a corner piece. I just want to, again, camouflage the intersections with something that looks a little bit more decorative. And gives it a little bit more interest. Every texture you add adds interest. And the fact that it gives your eye more and more to discover. That's a pretty color right there. Let's flip it. Let's just work around the edges here. Staying with a pastel thread has worked because it pretty much blends with whatever color you're putting it on. I don't want my stitching to be the focal point, so that's important that I don't put a bright harsh color out here right in the middle of all this pastel if that's not the look that I'm going for. And I say the look that I'm going for. Of course, it's a scrappy project, but the colors that I started with are soft, and so staying in that thread tone, although it doesn't make any difference what color I use, staying in that soft tone helps to highlight these fabrics. Boy, this Arctic blast here, that's come down south, and it has really made Texas cold. You know, people think about heat when they think of Texas, but I'll tell you what, it got down to 14 last night, and I don't know what the chill factor was, but that's frigid. So it's possible to freeze in Texas. So if you come in the winter time, bring a coat. You never know what the weather's going to be. It changes so fast. I think the front that started in this area and traveling across the country is going to be much worse on everybody going east. So I'm really sad about that. They're getting a lot more ice and snow. We got a little covering of snow, not much. If we got a quarter to a half inch, I would say, but not much more than that. But the ice is what makes it so hard around here, because we don't have, we're not equipped for conditions when it's really icy. So we have a lot, it's pretty hazardous if you're trying to travel in this kind of weather. They do try to sand the bridges and things like that, but and it's with not too much. If a road is traveled, the main roads, they stay clear. But it's the back roads trying to get to the main roads that'll get you. Okay, still like a little bit on that. I still need to find, here's a really light pastel blue. Let's find my light colors in here. I don't want cream. Might have to dig around in another box. That's a pretty light pink. 2 strands won't show up too much. That's too bright. Okay, let's grab another thing, see what I got up here. It's a very nice light color. I think I'll exchange that for that. And that's really a nice light yellow if I'm just using 2 strands. And that's the same shade of blue. So I think I'll just stay with those. Okay, let's try this blue since it's right here. Broke my nail and had to file it down, and it's hard when you don't have a nail on your thumb to get the thread apart. Okay. This last part down here. There you go. Success. Now what do I do with my needle? There it is. Whoa. So what are your plans for the rest of January? You got some big stitching plans? I really would like to have a lunch and a stitching afternoon with invite a couple of my friends who do stitch occasionally. And I think that would be fun. Certainly on these cold days, be nice to be with friends, wouldn't it? That's one thing I love about all of y'all, is that when I work here on YouTube, that I know you're out there, and it just makes me feel not alone, and I love that. So continue, please, to drop in, and don't be shy. Leave a comment. It doesn't have to be long or involved. Just say hi, and that's sufficient. Let me know what's going on. I know I've had some international watchers and commenters, and I so appreciate you taking the time to leave a comment. It's very wonderful to know that I have some stitching friends around the world. And while I may never get to meet you in person, I love that you're here, and I appreciate your presence so much. I just think if more people stitched, there wouldn't be so much meanness in the world. Don't you think it'd be pretty hard to be mean while you're stitching? Stitching is such a soothing pastime that it's just like, oh man, we can't do both, so you're just gonna have to be nice. I like that, but you know what? I think I'll wait and put it on a solid background of some kind. I don't have a whole lot of solid colors. There's a green. What if I do have to get a little bit of solids, bigger pieces out here to work with. There's a floral that's pretty soft. That might be a good piece to what if I stuck it under something like that? Tuck it under that, bring it over some more, and let these two pieces overlap it. That would look pretty good. All right, let's pin it to keep it in place till we can get it secured. And I like how this big slab of pink that we put down in the beginning is it's just peeking through, and that's good. Now I can come on this edge and then come around and catch these. I think that's what I'll do there. And I'm still going to leave that open. It's possible I might want to tuck something else under there later. I do like to leave a lot of my edges open. Not all of them. It doesn't work out where you do them all, but some of them along. Does help me to go over and under things. Okay, we got that one secured there. So let's go down and up and catch this one over here. You have to turn these things every which way but loose, don't you? You know, we already got quite a bit of our background covered. So it's going pretty fast, and I'm not using big pieces of fabric scraps, so let's catch that. See if we can catch this one like that. We'll give it some medical stitches here. What kind of fabric do you like to work with the most? You know, it really doesn't matter to me most of the time. Cottons, fancy fabric, shears, silkies, laces, all those kind of things. I'm not into real heavy fabrics. I do have some upholstery fabrics that I use from time to time, but generally I like the softer fabrics. For one thing, doing the hand sewing, the slow stitching, is so much easier on your hands to sew through fabrics that are nice and soft, because so much of our slow stitching is layered up, and we have lots of layers to go through, so okay, and I want to sew this one. I think I will continue around this. Well, that one doesn't want to go that way. Let's go this way. I think I'm into the selvage right there, and it's strong selvage. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Also, when I do this, I try to make the piece not huge by any means, but, you know, not a 4x4 or something like that, but bigger, so that when I do get done, I have a substantial amount of fabric to cut up to use for other things. And like I said, I'm going to do this start to finish, and I will be showing you different things that I will be creating out of this collage when I finish the collage itself. So your imagination is your limit, and so whatever kind of imagination you have, that's what determines where you can go with your creativity. Okay, I'm going to leave just a little bit of that in case I want to tuck. Okay, I think I will go, got a little bit of thread here. Where do I want to go with it? I think I'll go back toward that. if I've got very far to go, I like to just thread some of it on the back so that I don't have such a long span of thread trying to get somewhere back here, because it gets caught a lot when that happens. Even that can get caught easily. Don't pull it out of the needle. Where am I? I think I'm right here. Let's get this. Thankfully, it's peaceful around this part of the country. I hope it's peaceful where you are and you're not putting up with a lot of unrest and violence and disasters and of every sort. My heart just aches for so many people that are suffering so many ways, that are in so many cases unnecessary. And, you know, some of ladies around the world don't even have a chance to sit down and do a little slow stitching because there's so much turmoil in their life. They're just trying to survive, trying to feed their children, trying to keep everybody alive. It's just sad, so sad. And so we need to remember to pray for these people. They need all the help they can get, and our prayers are not going to hurt them. Well, what do you think? It's coming along. So far, so good. We are collaging up a storm here, and we got a pile of stuff here. I've got more stuff pulled out. I don't know if I'm going to use it or what, but it's just in that tub, and we'll just have to see. That's a pretty piece of lace. That might be. Might be pretty there. Certainly cover those edges. Oh, I might not want that big of a piece. We'll hold on that one and see what happens. There's another piece of this that's right here, and I'm liking that a lot. That might be a really nice piece to lay in there. I'm thinking I do like that. Let's pin it in so I don't lose my thought. We got that there. And what we got? We got this little limey piece of something. Let me see if I can press it out just a little. Strange cooler. I could tuck it in right there and let it run out over the edge of that. I think I'm liking that too. We'll try that. Let's see what else we have here. I've got some probably look nice along in there. Okay, let's see how that does. Okay, we'll throw those back in the scrap thing. All right, we're coming on here now. We might could use another this piece right down in here. That would be a good, or the darker blue. Okay, let's use that piece. I like it. Yeah, that is nice. Okay, we'll put that one there. And I like to lay out a little bit ahead of time, like I'm fixing to close this video down, but this way I have a starting place when I come back, and I don't have to spend all my time wondering what I'm going to do next. I have a starting place. This just looks like too good of a piece just to leave on its own. Let's use it. We just have to come back and sew that one in. Okay, we have this little piece here that we need to fill in with something. Oh, I got some gauzy fabric here. What would that look like under there? Doubled up under that. We could slant it. Let's try that. Okay. Again, when you're collaging, remember that anything you hate when you get through, hey, cover it up. Nobody will ever know what's under there. All right, it's coming together. And I've got a good starting point here to work out this corner. Now, realizing that when I get through with covering it, I will be coming back and adding little things. Little pieces of maybe laces for interest. Little pieces of yarn for interest. More laces. Whatever seems right is what I'll do at the time, okay? But meantime, we're just getting something on our salvaged background. And as we're sewing it, it's becoming more and more stable. All right. And then when we get ready to use this for something, it'll be really fun to see what the pieces look like when we cut them out of there. Okay. All right. I'm staying scrap happy, and I hope you will too. Till next time. Bye-bye.